29, 2023. I am Lights Camera Jackson, and welcome to LCJ Live. We were off last week, but we are back now. Good to be with you on this Sunday, the final Sunday in the month of October. And wow, Halloween weekend really proved to be a big one at the box office because of one movie. And it's not The Exorcist Believer in its fourth weekend or Saw X in its sixth weekend. No, it is Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's making $78 million, even with a Peacock release. You know why? Because teens, and this being PG-13, would rather go to the movies together than try to watch this thing at home on Peacock. The theatrical experience is alive and well because according to one report I read, 94% of the people who went to Five Nights at Freddy's this weekend were under the age of 35. Wow, that is a gigantic number. Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's with the simultaneous release still made 78 million bucks. That is huge for Universal, Blumhouse, Jason Blum all in on this. This has been a passion project of his for like 8 years. Emma Tommy, female director, making this happen. 78 million, one of the biggest opens with a female director. Horror movies, big opening weekend for October. I mean, just huge success. I met Emma a couple weeks ago at New York Comic Con. She was great. If you want that Animation Scoop Q&A, go to animationscoop.com. Five Nights at Freddy's, it's got to have a sequel. Now, here's the question. Will it be called Another Five Nights at Freddy's? Five More Nights at Freddy's? Or Five Nights at Freddy's 2? Probably Five Nights at Freddy's 2. That's probably what it'll end up being. You need brand recognition. Can't mess with the brand recognition. So, we'll see what happens. 78 million is big. It's nearly what Taylor Swift opened to just a couple weeks ago, and everybody was scared about October not being that big of a month. You did Exorcist, which did okay. You did Killers of the Flower Moon, which is done okay. Taylor Swift, blockbuster. Five Nights at Freddy's, blockbuster. Now, could Five Nights at Freddy's have a gigantic drop next weekend? Absolutely. This thing could go down to $17 million. But for now, it's at 78, and it's a very strong open. I have the Friends couch here with me, because we also have to remember the passing, acknowledge the passing, and remember Matthew Perry, who passed away yesterday at the age of 54. I watched Friends for the very first time over this past year and a half, and what he brought to Chandler Bing was not just the hilarious, sarcastic one-liners, that comic timing, that comedic timing, that sitcom comedic timing, that really can't be duplicated and hasn't been in the 20 years since Friends went off the air, but also humanity and heart as Chandler Bing. What a character, what a performance, the lasting impact of this show. You know, it'll go on for generations. This show is still on TBS every day. It's on streaming services. It's in syndication. It's on every night in major markets around the country. And so Friends will live on. The legacy of Matthew Perry. Rest in peace to him. He appeared in several other TV shows and movies. Obviously, the Friends reunion from a couple years ago. Plus, you had movies like 17 again. You had Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, The West Wing, Mr. Sunshine and Go On were short-lived network sitcoms, and several other projects. Rest in peace to Matthew Perry. I think there will be some more Friends marathons. I would expect that. Highlight episodes on the channels over the next week or so. Rest in peace to Matthew Perry. When we look at the rest of the box office, Taylor Swift, number 2, 14.7 million. She's at 149.4 with the movie The Eras Tour. This was weekend number 3. Now it's done Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the last 3 weekends. What's interesting is the Thursday money didn't count for this weekend and the previous weekend, and it will not count next weekend for its fourth and final week. But this Tuesday, there will be Halloween showings of Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. Will it make more money than Five Nights at Freddy's on Halloween? I'm not quite sure about that, but getting a little extra money with special Tuesday Halloween showings of the Eras Tour movie. I think ticket prices are $13.13 for everybody. That's the Halloween special. So that is happening on Tuesday. So it's at $149.4, basically $150. It'll get over $150 either with the actual results or with the Tuesday money. And then it'll have one more weekend unless they decide to extend it. And I'm thinking if it makes another, 8 million, you're looking at 160, maybe a run at 165 total, unless they extend the run. Killers of the Flower Moon dropped from 23 million last weekend down to 9 million this weekend. Bit of a big drop there. It has hit the 40 million mark, 40.7 million. For Martin Scorsese's 3.5 hour drama starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, and Robert De Niro. That's a big drop, and it's really not going to get any better. Even this coming weekend, when you don't have a gigantic movie, you've got a couple big awards. One big awards movie in particular, that is Priscilla, that's opening wide this coming weekend. I could see it making maybe 5 million killers this coming weekend, then maybe 2 or 3, and it's done. I mean, this won't get to 60. It may not even get to 55. It may get a quicker Apple TV Plus release than they might have anticipated. Maybe thinking, all right, the awards nominations are going to start coming out. We want people to see this movie. If they don't want to go to the theaters, let's get this on Apple TV Plus. So yeah, if this had made 12, 13, 14 million, I would have said, not bad for a second weekend. Under 10 at 9, not great for Killers of the Flower Moon. Documentary called After Death opened to 5.1 million in fourth this weekend. And in fifth, The Exorcist Believer, which added 3.1 million, is at 59.4. Five Nights at Freddy's has already made more money than The Exorcist Believer. It has also passed Cocaine Bear to become the fifth biggest Universal movie of 2023. A couple big Universal movies on the way for the rest of the year are animated movies, Migration at Christmas Time and Trolls Band Together, which I have seen. It is a lot of fun. I even like it more than the second one. It's a good time. It opens officially November 17, but there are sneak preview screenings this Saturday. So then you've got Paw Patrol the Mighty Movie, which made 2.2 million this weekend. It's at 59.2. It could make another 1.5 million, then another million or so. A couple more weekends before Trolls officially goes wide. Paw Patrol will get past 60. Maybe it'll try to make a run at $65 million. Then you have Freelance, the new John Cena action comedy, which I saw several weeks ago, is terrible. It's a terrible movie. I don't know why this didn't go direct to streaming or direct to DVD. 2.1 million for Freelance. Maybe a lot of that money came from the Regal Monday mystery movie screenings. $2 more million for The Nightmare Before Christmas re-release this weekend, which has totaled 7.9 million for Disney. Of course, it aired last Sunday on ABC as well. And tonight, Hocus Pocus is on ABC, even though that just got re-released in theaters recently as well. Then you've got, 1.7 million for Saw X. It's at 50.3 million. Needs about 2 million more to pass a completely different movie on the Lionsgate highest grossing movies of the year list, and that is Jesus Revolution. Complete opposites. Saw X and Jesus Revolution. But Saw X needs about 2 million more, and it will pass Jesus Revolution. We'll see if that happens. And rounding out your top 10 this weekend is The Creator, which added $1 million. It's at 38.9. It will try to get to 40. Interestingly, A Haunting in Venice is only about 3.5 million away from getting to Death on the Nile. A Haunting in Venice added about 500,000 this weekend, and it goes to Hulu on Tuesday. As I mentioned, Priscilla goes nationwide this weekend. It opened in 4 theaters this weekend to $132,000, a decent $33,000 per screen average. And then The Holdovers, which I will be seeing soon, the new Paul Giamatti, Alexander Payne film. They reunite nearly 20 years after Sideways. And that opened in 6 theaters this weekend to $200,000. That's a pretty good per screen average as well. And that will go nationwide on November 10. It goes to about 60 theaters this coming weekend. Anatomy of a Fall, which I saw on Thursday. It's very good. I don't think it's perfect, but it's very good. Added 565,000 this weekend for a nearly $1 million total so far. A decent per screen average. It's only in a couple hundred theaters. Go see Anatomy of a Fall if it's near you. It's 2.5 hours, but it does not feel it. It felt about 2 to me, so that's pretty good. When a 2.5 hour movie can feel significantly less than that, that's pretty good. It is a gripping movie. I was with it early, lost my interest a little bit, gained it back, and some of the scenes are really stand out. The performances are strong. I appreciate what went into the screenplay and the story structure of it. It feels a little bit like a novel. That's come to life on screen. There is a purpose to that, but you have to get used to that a little bit in the way that it kind of suddenly brings up topics and surprises. I thought it was a little abrupt at times, but there is a purpose to all of that. This could be a Best Picture nominee. This could be a Best Director, Actress, Original Screenplay nominee. It will get some Oscar nominations. It will get some awards nominations. How many? We're still many months away, but it's a movie. It's a rare movie I've seen in the last few weeks. Obviously, Killers of the Flower Moon's getting some nominations. So's Barbie, so's Oppenheimer. But it's a movie where, as I was watching, I go, okay, this is going to get some nominations without question, and it deserves those. So that is Anatomy of a Fall. Opening in theaters wide this weekend is What Happens Later. It is Meg Ryan and David Duchovny's new romantic dramedy. We'll see how that does. Bleecker Street putting it out. It was originally supposed to come out in October, but Taylor Swift pushed it to November. And Fingernails is a Jessie Buckley, Riz Ahmed film going to Apple TV Plus on Friday. The Marsh King's Daughter with Daisy Ridley opens in theaters this coming weekend. And Glisten and the Merry Mission, which is a new hand-drawn animated holiday movie going to Cinemark theaters starting Friday. You get an Animation Scoop Q&A with, I'll have that with the director of the movie, coming this week to animationscoop.com, as well as an LCJ Q&A podcast episode. New one tomorrow as well with the makers of a new Netflix adult animated action series called Blue Eye Samurai that's very good. Amber Noizumi and Michael Green. If you recognize that name, that's because Michael Green has written all 3 Hercule Poirot, Kenneth Branagh movies. Also co-wrote Blade Runner 2049 and Logan. He got an Oscar nomination for Logan. So I talked with this wife and husband, Amber and Michael, about Blue Eye Samurai. That'll be available tomorrow. If you're joining me here on LCJ Live, you can send in your questions and your comments. Big movie that's coming out Friday on streaming is Sly. This is the new Sylvester Stallone documentary. And if you are a fan of Sylvester Stallone, you have to watch this movie. I watched it a couple weeks ago. I am a Sylvester Stallone fan. You know, Rocky is one of my favorite movies. I admire what he has done with the art of movie making, and I appreciate it even more after watching this movie, because what Sly, the film, shows you is who he is as a man, what he has gone through, a lot of trouble in his life. Relationship with his father will make you go, whoa, a few times. And it goes through his filmography, highlights of it, and the thought behind many of the movies, from the Rambo films to the Rocky sequels to the first Rocky and Rambo movies, to a few of his later, more recent films, including how he got the Expendables going. And you understand more than ever his eye for cinema, his eye for the art of movie making, his process, the purpose, how his real life mirrors what he decided to put into his movies, how he is all for a happy ending, not a sad ending, how he, butted heads with studios about that. It's really good, and you cannot look away. When he talks, he keeps your attention the entire time. And there are other people in the movie. Quentin Tarantino has a lot of good insights on Sylvester Stallone. So I highly recommend you watch Sly. It's on Netflix Friday, and it's nominated for a Critics' Choice Documentary Award. It's very good. If you like him or you want to know more about him, it's about 95 minutes. Watch it, Sly, on Netflix Friday. It's very good. When we're back here next Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern, I believe, or it may be Saturday, I'll figure that out. When we're back here next time for LCJ Live, we will see how some of these movies like Priscilla and What Happens Later do at the box office. Glisten and the Merry Mission as well. By the way, next Sunday is Treehouse of Horror Simpsons episode. I will be giving you a cool Animation Scoop Q&A and LCJ podcast episode later this week. I will reveal more later in the week, but Treehouse of Horror is next Sunday, November 5th. It's after Halloween, but I have watched it, and it is worth the wait. It's a lot of fun, and I will have more on it later this week. When we're back here next time, we'll talk about box office, we'll talk about Treehouse of Horror. We will preview The Marvels, which is on the way, November 10th. It's almost here. How much money will the Marvels make? Plus more big movies opening for November. Thank you for watching today's episode of LCJ Live. For more, go to Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson. If you're watching this on YouTube, youtube.com/LightsCameraJackson. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications, get notified when I go live with LCJ Live. The website is lights-camera-jackson.com. I got a blog piece up there now on the DreamWorks threequels. Trolls Band Together is the 5th DreamWorks threequel. We've had others. We've had Shrek the Third, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted, Kung Fu Panda 3, and How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. I write about them and how DreamWorks is really counting on Trolls Band Together to do very well because the last movie was a VOD release, remember. So that is up on the website. More coming at you this week. I had a great time at the Film Columbia Festival. Shout out to the folks at Film Columbia, which ends today in Chatham, New York at the Crandall Theater. I had a great time screening lots of movies. My favorite of the bunch, they shot The Piano Player, which I got to see yesterday on International Animation Day. It is a new docudrama featuring Jeff Goldblum. Sony Classics is releasing it later this year. It's very good. Got to see some other movies, including The Boy and the Heron from Hayao Miyazaki, which is pretty good. And some other movies I didn't love, May, December, and Little Prayer. And All of Us Strangers has a great Claire Foy performance. So got to see those and take in Film Columbia 2023. Thanks to them as we get into Film Festival and now get into awards season. So, yeah, thanks for watching today's episode of LCJ Live. I appreciate it. Stay tuned for more in the world of LCJ. And I'll see you real soon. Take care. Happy Halloween on Tuesday. Have a great, safe Halloween. Bye-bye.